Are you a slave master in search of something new? Are you an enchantress with an ever-insufficient magic budget? Are you a misunderstood genius? Sign up with the Dungeons Company. Assemble your ideal team, train your monsters to defend our treasures from ever stupider heroes. Feel free to give us a call by Crystal Ball at and become a part of the Legend of Keepers.
In this amazing game, you are not the adventurers, but you control the monsters of the dungeon. Your task is to make sure adventurers never complete the dungeons they are sent to. Every week you will get several choices what to do next. The most recurring task, of course, is to defend the dungeon. A dungeon usually consists out of multiple rooms. In some rooms you can lay traps, some require monster parties, and one room you will always leave empty to cast a spell. Of course, the last room contains the boss. The boss character is you and is called the Master. You can level this boss master later with talent and make it stronger over time. Sometimes dungeons will have natural disaster rooms as well, which can be really beneficial to boost traps or hurt enemies. Later on you will get a promotional monster, essentially a mini boss, and he will be placed halfway in a separate room as well. And lastly you might find resting rooms, which is actually a buff for the enemy and will remove all debuffs or heals depending on the type of resting room. Your job is to demoralize, burn and hurt the adventurers, veterans or even champions entering your dungeon, so they will never get the treasure. Breaking the morale might cause monsters to flee, but also take extra damage. You can mouse over the face icon next to their health bar to see their current morale. Breaking morale is one of the most powerful tools to weaken enemies. Every fight starts with a preparation phase, and at first you probably just focus on deploying the monsters you have, but later on you can start looking carefully at the stats of the adventurers to deploy based on their weaknesses and strengths. For example, if you see a concertist in the enemy party, you might focus on bleeding and poisoning the enemy rather than using morale traps and attacks, and also elemental weakness can help you a lot gain advantage. Also AoE attacks, which means area of effect attacks, are really good to remove shields and protects on the enemy. Every monster has several skills. Sometimes they have 3 active skills, which gives you a large range of choice in battle. But having just a single powerful passive skill might be much more beneficial for the entire party. For example, placing the harpy behind your allied monster will help her skills be more beneficial by increasing haste to all allies in front of her. But the passive skill of the skeleton soldier makes your allied monsters behind that soldier take much less damage. If you see all enemies have weakness for air, which is depicted in a negative number, and a positive percentage for nature, the harpy will be much more useful than the poisoned skeleton archer doing nature damage. At the end of each dungeon you will get rewards like making your boss stronger, tons of gold, or choose new champions and traps. You can even obtain elite monsters which will be much stronger than your average monsters. Fighting and dying hurts the motivation of your monsters too, therefore make sure they rest occasionally in the garrison to regain their motivation. You can do that by simply clicking the monster button on top of your screen at any time between missions. After every battle you will see a report of the motivation changes. You don't have to fight every week, so you have plenty of time to do other things. You can visit the merchant if you have extra gold laying around and buy more monsters here, but better to save money for making existing monsters stronger unless you are really missing some monsters. Not only gold is a currency in Legend of Keepers, but also blood and tears are, and that's mainly the blood and tears of adventurers, but also can be subtracted from your own master or even from your monsters. Every so now and then you can choose random events. This can give you a whole range of random rewards in either of those 3 currencies, but be aware, the random event can also be a waste of a week and give nothing you can use or afford. One of the most important tasks is the engineer, as he can upgrade existing traps. Since several rooms will always have traps, upgrading traps can be really beneficial. And what the engineer is for traps, so is the trainer for monsters. Upgrading your favorite monsters can ensure that adventurers never even make it to the final boss, and not even that, they can even learn new skills when their level upgrades. This can also be done with a course. that focuses training on just one monster. And then the workout is for your own boss or the final dungeon boss and often uses blood and tears as currency as well. A very useful event is therapists. They will help you gain quick motivation for all your monsters, so can be incredibly useful when you suffered a lot of motivation loss. Doctors will only heal your master, so make sure you only choose a doctor when your master has suffered some health loss, and also remember that your master will regain health over time. The alchemist will make it possible to transmute blood to tears and vice versa, as well as transmute blood and tears to gold. If you are really in desperate need of gold, you can sell monsters on the black market. Please note that only monsters that are currently being garrisoned can be sold on the black market. One of the better ways to gain money is sending your monsters on a business trip. This will take one monster out of the running for a while, but the gain will be worth it. The trap version of this is Siege, where you can rent out some of your traps. An incredibly powerful one is the Sanctuary, which will allow you to curse the next groups of adventurers at the cost of blood or tears. Plundering allows you to get some gold and reward by choosing a location out of several options. The collector will ask for money, but blood will pay more. If you don't have blood, you can drain it from your own boss. If you feel confident enough to gain it back in time for when you really need it, you should definitely choose that option. Clicking on the Master's portrait will bring up the Master's menu, where you'll find a lot of important menus. First thing is the talent menu, where you can learn talents when they unlock. You have to complete the entire zone before you can start learning more talents. You can move around on the map and see the archivist with all the rewarded artifacts you have accumulated so far. You can equip up to 5 artifacts, which will show on the bottom menu. Artifacts are powerful tools that can help you in the dungeon a lot. After completing all the weeks of that area, which is usually a little short of a year, for example 38 or 44 weeks, your master levels up and can assign his talent points. All your monsters and traps will stay behind to secure that zone, and you can prepare to set up a new zone with new monsters. Also, your artifacts will be reset. You can customize the level beforehand to increase or decrease the experience gained on completion. This is locked once you start it, as well as the talents menu, the map and everything else. In the main menu you can choose give up without any penalty if the level is just too hard. You can then do a lower level again to get a bit stronger first, or modify a lower level to gain a little bit more experience and then retry it again. I hope you like this guide, and it's really an amazing game, worth to check out. Don't forget to like and subscribe or even comment. This will help us get the video out there. Thank you so much for watching this, and I hope to see you in the next video.